When I said McDevils, everybody was like, ha, ha, ha. I said Taco Hell, ha, ha, ha. White Casket instead of White Castle, ha, ha, ha. So I went and looked up Popeye's chicken sandwich. Come to find out, they have over 40 ingredients in the Popeye's chicken sandwich. 32 of them were man-made chemicals. And I said, well, let's see what Chick-fil-A has. Well,
You already know what it is. It's your boy Laid Back with another reaction, another review, another episode. Hey, TikTok, you up to bat. Bah! It's your boy Laid Back. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, two things we gotta do. You gotta hit that subscribe button. I'm drinking this water. You already know what it is, man. You are the prize in 2025. You are the prize in 2025. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Stay up to date with all the videos. Make sure you share this with the last person you text in your phone, man. If you a real one, you know what I'm saying? But we got another TikTok compilation, man. We got some talking about food here. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that we actually ingest. This is gonna be very interesting and eye-opening, I'm sure. So I got a TikTok playlist, man. If you into this stuff, you can binge watch and go through it. Make sure you leave a comment on this video. I'm hearting every comment, every single comment. I'm gonna do my best. But this is gonna be interesting. Let's go ahead and get into it. Fire Squad, what's popping? Let's get it.
Bread is not allowed in Europe because it's not legally classified as bread. Question is, who is to blame here? Is it the company or is it the government? I'd say it's America's insane lobbying. It's a legalized form of corruption. But that's where I'm a bigger fan of European policy. Here in Estonia, I've had the benefit of meeting various people who work in the government, and I look at the policy that they are enacting. For example, in Estonia, 51% of the country is forested. Everything grown here is certified organic. All of this is law. I hate to break it to you, but if you live in the United States and you buy bread, it's not bread. It's a commercial weird product that here in Europe, we cannot even consider food. And that's what you're putting in your body.
Do your own research. This is gonna be crazy.
When I said McDevils, everybody was like, ha, ha, ha. I said Taco Hell, ha, ha, ha. White Casket instead of White Castle, ha, ha, ha. So I went and looked up Popeye's chicken sandwich. Come to find out, they have over 40 ingredients in the Popeye's chicken sandwich. 32 of them were man-made chemicals. And I said, well, let's see what Chick-fil-A has. Well, black people got an emotional attachment to this Chick-fil-A spot. So when I said Chick-fil-A, over 50 chemicals in the chicken sandwich, over 40 of them were man-made chemicals. I said, so hell, this is a dope sandwich. So they really are flipping birds over there. Inside of beef, there were 21 drugs pumped into cows that were harmful to the human body. This was in the 60s. Because these drugs are in the meat, then you become addicted to it. I even was told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And they were trying to get you to buy the cereal that they was producing. We find ourselves suffering from illness and sickness unnecessarily.
Thanks.
The oldest man in the scriptures named Methuselah, 969. How'd you live to be almost 1,000? He ate one meal, fasted 3 days, and then ate another meal. You eat like that, your body will never have enough toxins to even make you sick. I end up becoming a vegetarian that I feel now at the age of 48 better than I felt at the age of 15. They don't want you to know that they're drugging you, wanting the food not for nutritional value, but because you become addicted. Any foreign substance automatically activates the immune system, which means our bodies, when we eat this kind of food, they are fighting an unnecessary battle. So when the real battles of disease show up, the systems are too worn out by fighting these small battles every day from bad eating that they can't handle a virus when it shows up.
The truth is hidden in a plain sight. We are one with the nature. If you want to know more about the herbs from our Creator's garden, this ebook will unveil that for you. Let thy food be thy medicine.
I definitely believe that. Let the food be our medicine.
Imagine biting into a protein bar, only to find out later that it's packed with insects. Just watch this.
What?
The word insect or bugs is nowhere on this. But this is insect protein energy bars. And there was a man giving these out by the 100 today. They really want you to eat the bugs. This is not a conspiracy theory, Alex. I couldn't believe it. I took it. And I asked the guy, where does it say bugs? He said, oh, it's right there. Alphitobius diaperinus in the ingredients.
They're sneaking insects into your food and calling it sustainable. Why? Because bugs are cheap and easy to farm, and they're pushing them as future protein. Less land, less water, more profit for them. And here's the thing, they hide it behind Latin words on the wrapper, on the label. So you won't even know what you're eating unless you're using AI or Google to translate it.
I understand there were insects in it, and I asked the guy who was about to eat it, I said, did you hear him? There's insects in this, and he almost gagged.
Insects?
People are obsessed with ultra-processed foods at the moment, and some of the claims being made online are fair and some are absolute nonsense. So if you are confused about the effects of these foods and whether you can eat them or not, I'm going to explain all. I'm going to reference this brand new study which looked at the associations between ultra-processed foods and cardiovascular disease. Now, unsurprisingly, total ultra-processed food intake was associated with worse outcomes. I mean, no shit, Sherlock. But this is where it gets interesting. They didn't just look at the effects of ultra-processed foods as a whole, but also looked at the effects of specific food groups. And herein lies the problem and where a lot of Muppets online go wrong. Sugar-sweetened beverages, processed meats, fast foods, and many ready meals are calorically dense and high in added sugars, sodium, and saturated fats, all of which are established cardiovascular disease risk factors. Whereas foods like yogurts, whole grain bread and cereals, and savory snacks like popcorn contain protein, fiber, phenolic compounds, and are sometimes fortified with added micronutrients, which of course are health promoting, which is why we actually see an inverse association between these foods and cardiovascular outcomes. So while it is generally a good idea to limit your total intake of ultra-processed foods, clearly they are not all the same and neither are the effects. And many can actually contribute to your diet in a positive way. And let's be honest, who wants to live life without bread?
That's real. He gave a positive spin on it too. I like that.
Here's the biggest secret the food industry doesn't want you to know. Vegetable oil. It's not even made of vegetables. It's actually made of seeds, and it's actually an industrial waste product. And it goes through so many processes that it gets rancid and starts to stink. And they have to add deodorants in it so you can actually make it edible. And research has been coming out linking this stuff to Alzheimer's and schizophrenia and heart disease and diabetes and insulin resistance. And this stuff is in everything. It's in our salad dressings, it's in all our baked goods. Every restaurant uses it. Even fast food companies like McDonald's used to cook in animal fat and they switched to vegetable oil. And when they switched to vegetable oil, because this stuff is so unstable, it would combust and explode. They all had to change their ventilation systems. And we're consuming this stuff because we're told it's healthy for us. But if you look at the trend of vegetable oil, it's very similar.
Nobody said McDonald's was healthy. Nobody said that.
To a trend of heart disease and obesity. So why is no one talking about this? Follow the money.
Facts. Facts.
This is crazy stuff. So we've just found out there's a chemical in Diet Coke that is literally killing your cells and aging you with every sip. Time school. This chemical we've just discovered shares structural similarities to carbon monoxide. Yes, the odorless, poisonous gas that kills you when you breathe it in. And this hidden ingredient also contains the monoxide component, which is responsible for a process called oxidative stress. And this oxidative stress produces free radicals which can alter your lipids, proteins, and DNA and trigger a number of human diseases. It's called dihydrogen monoxide, or DHMO, which is responsible for thousands of deaths every year. As you can see, accidental inhalation of DHMO can cause death even in small quantities, and prolonged exposure to solid DHMO causes severe tissue damage. And worst of all, they're not even disclosing it on the ingredients label. We really need to be on the lookout, as the government doesn't want you knowing about this toxic compound. The scariest part is DHMO goes by several names, including hydrogen hydroxide or hydric acid. But there's another name for it too. Water. Yes, water.
Hold on, man. Hold on. You can't tell me. Nah. All I drink is water. All I drink is water. No. I drink spring water, though. Natural spring water. Let me see what he gonna say, man. Let me see what, because y'all know I drink water in every video. Let's see.
Dihydrogen monoxide is water. Do you see how easy it is to paint a conspiratorial narrative and provide research that some random compound is toxic? Yes, it's this easy. Do yourself a favor and ignore videos that pick on a random chemical, often illustrating how little they truly know about it. And maybe stick around here to stay sane and informed. Class dismissed.
What we doing with the water though? What type of water?
Come look at this one, bro. Mind you, this was in the UK, so you're going to realize the ingredients are completely different.
They use beef gelatin instead of pig fat, and then the colorings from fruit and vegetables, and then the flavorings from black currant, raspberry, pear, lemon, orange, lime, and spirulina extract.
I wouldn't die over the European ingredients.
The thing about Europe is that, like, you can pretty much grab anything, and you'll know that they're not getting you poison. Sure, you'll get refined sugars and stuff like that, but you're not going to get red number 40, which is the leading cause of anxiety and depression.
Man, this stuff is crazy.
What would be the 5 foods that if you could only have these 5 foods to support the overall quality of your mind, your body, your health, your longevity, what would those 5 foods be for you?
Maybe salmon, because it's a good source of omega-3 fatty acids and I like it. Broccoli, because it's a cruciferous vegetable that has lots of protective compounds in it. Berries, which I think are, really good fruits that are low in glycemic load and have a lot of protective compounds in them. I would say green tea, and my preferred form is matcha. And the 5th one, maybe dark chocolate. At least 70% cocoa.
Facts. Cacao is actually how you pronounce that.
That's the amount of sugar that's in a healthy person's blood. If your body goes from this to this, you're diabetic. 1 bowl of rice has the same impact on your blood as 10 cubes of sugar. And 1 slice of white bread has the same impact on your blood as 4 cubes of sugar. Look at how we process the grain. We take a whole grain and we process it to pure white flour. Now you take that rice, you process out the plant nutrients and the fiber, and now you're left with that delicious processed rice, and we're left with pure starch. And starch are just chains of glucose put together. And your body's trying to do whatever it can to not increase this. So whenever you eat food, that food increases your blood sugar. It may increase it to that. It may increase it to that.
Damn.
It may even increase it to all that. So having cereal in the morning may do something like that. Compared to eggs and healthy fats like avocado may do something like that. Now, if you eat something like that, your body's insulin levels may go from this to this, and then it's pretty easy for it to come back down. But if you're having something like that, and your blood sugar goes from this to that, now your insulin goes up much higher, and it takes longer to come down because it's a hormone. Now you feel hungry, you feel tired, so you eat more. So your sugar went from this to this, but your insulin is still high. And then you eat again, and your sugar goes up again. And your insulin stays high all the time. You keep doing it over and over, your body develops a resistance. Look at these drugs. If you keep doing them over and over again, the high gets less and you need more to get the same effect. Right. 88% of Americans right now are insulin resistant. Diabetes and prediabetes is increasing all over Asia as well. From Japan, Philippines, India. This is a global problem. Now, there's one simple way to control this. This right here is the key. Look at the difference. Orange juice drastically spikes your blood sugar. Oranges doesn't. Look at that, what's happening 2 hours later. The blood sugar's crashing. With the oranges, it doesn't. Same amount of calories, different effect on your blood sugar. How is it that this does this, and this probably only does this? Fiber. Fiber is the key. See, fiber reduces the glucose spike, and it also prevents your blood sugar from crashing. At the same calories, a fibrous fruit will have a lower glucose spike than a less fibrous fruit. Fiber controls your glucose levels. So your body has an easier time maintaining this. But if you remove all that fiber and you add all of this in your bloodstream, and you remove all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals, now you get hyperinsulinemia. The insulin stops working properly in your body. Your body's not using the energy properly, so you keep storing energy because your body's trying to do whatever it can to get rid of this. So yes, while calories do matter, what's more important is the impact of that food on your hormones. And the easiest thing you can do is up your fiber because your body's trying to do whatever it can to maintain healthy blood sugar.
This is going to be very interesting.
When you eat a peach, you should eat the seed. But did you know if you eat the seeds to the fruit, You get a vitamin you don't normally get otherwise. There's a group of folks in Pakistan called the Hunzas. The Hunza tribe up there in the mountains, the Himalayas, when they were first discovered, the average age of the Hunza was reported to be 160.
Whoa.
The more contact they had with the outside world, the more their lifespans dropped.
Wow.
Today, their average age is about 90. One of the favorite foods among the Hunza tribe is the apricot seeds. They treat them like money. They'll buy and sell things with apricot seeds. They take the apricot seeds and squeeze them and get the oil out. The women put it on their face and it prevents them from wrinkling. They say the women look great for years. Average age of 90, and they never get cancer. Well, that's interesting.
Let's talk about the worst foods for your skin. Number 1, low-fat foods. Did you realize that 50% of the cell membrane that makes up your skin comes from saturated fat? So skin that is starved of fat looks older and dehydrated. Number 2, processed protein. A big one is the soy protein isolates. A lot of these plant-based proteins are super low in fat, they're highly refined, and people take them to lose weight, and they may help you, but when you lose weight, you don't look healthy. Number 3, we have the sugary foods. Take a look at a diabetic.
Whoa.
They have terrible skin, they have acne. Why? Because sugar increases insulin, and insulin increases androgens, which make your sebaceous glands enlarged, and that's what acne is. Then we have grain foods, which are loaded with gluten, and gluten messes with your gut. And anytime you have gut issues, you're going to have skin problems. Now, for more information on what to eat, check out my YouTube channel.
Yeah, what can you eat nowadays?
Pringles.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to call themselves chips.
Wait, why?
Before, Pringles had Pringles chips labeled on the thing.
Yeah.
To be labeled as chips, I think, what's that, FDA?
Yeah.
So, like, the FDA said that if you are not making chips from actual potatoes.
Wait, it's not potato?
No Pringles?
It's not potato?
No, fam.
Shit.
It's made out of a powder, and they make it into a paste, and they heat it up, and it becomes...
But it's not like corn?
No. Fam, I don't know what the fuck is in Pringles. It's not potatoes or anything corn.
It's probably corn something.
Maybe, I don't know. But, it's like with all these like toxic shit in it.
Ew, bro.
They're not allowed to label it chips because it's not chips.
Damn.
So a chip has to be a potato cut up into thin slices, either fried or put in the oven, and you can call it chips.
And then you can call it chips.
Yeah.
So Pringles are just Pringles.
Yeah, Pringles are really just Pringles, bro. They're in their own lanes.
Ew, bro.
Yo, I like Pringles too. I don't eat them often. Damn, they not even potatoes though.
But there's even foods that people think are healthy that are not really good for you. Like, for instance, white rice is better than brown rice.
Yes.
Like, people think white rice, like, oh, I'll have brown rice. I'm being healthy. I have brown rice.
It's got to be one of the biggest misconceptions out there.
That fucking stuff, there's arsenic in that.
But it's brown.
Yeah, it's not good.
It looks like grains.
But this
That's all I eat is white rice, yeah.
That shit is terrible for you.
Terrible.
Like, there's a reason why Asian cultures for a long time have been getting rid of that outside, that husk.
God, the Japanese got it right with food, I'm telling you.
They did?
Sushi, white rice, seaweed, just all day. Favorite.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of countries that figured it out. We're just not one of them.
Damn. Oh, we did. We just got a different angle.
Do you like Mountain Dew? How much you like Mountain Dew? You know how many countries Mountain Dew is illegal in? Let me give it to you. Mountain Dew, which contains BVO, that's linked to potential health risks, is banned in Europe and Japan, but it's legal in US. Let's go to the next one. And Honey Bunches of Oats. These cereals contain BHT, a preservative banned in Japan and EU due to potential carcinogenic properties. Well, you can buy it in US. Let's go to the next one. Coffee Mate. The coffee creamer contains trans fats, specifically partially hydrogenated oils, which are linked to heart disease. While the US banned trans fats in 2018, products containing them still can be found. Many countries, including Switzerland, Austria, Hungary, Iceland, Norway, and Denmark, have stricter regulations. Next, Thanksgiving's around the corner. Stovetop stuffing. This product contains preservatives BHA and BHT, which are suspected to be carcinogenics and impair blood clotting. These preservatives are banned in the UK, Japan, and several other European countries, but available in the US.
Whoa, what the hell?
Salt and pepper, healthy for you, but also highly contaminated and heavy metals like lead and cadmium. How can that be, and how do they get away with it? Well, there's really no regulation on salt and pepper in the food industry to protect your family. Sea salt can be contaminated for various reasons. How they dry it, or how they process it, or where it's mined, especially with Himalayan sea salt and pepper. It sequesters and pulls up contamination in the soil, and it concentrates it in the peppercorns. It starts bioaccumulating in your body, causing hormone dysregulation and neurodegeneration. I never buy salt or pepper from the grocery store. Why? You can't get the certificate of analysis. Really good companies, they will send you their certificate of analysis. In those COAs, what do I look for? The 3 most toxic metals to your body: lead, cadmium, and mercury. For lead and cadmium, I want to see less than 50 parts per billion, and for mercury, less than 10 parts per billion.
What? Bro, it's a lot.
I've got a plastic spatula here in my hand. Is this good?
No, because that's melting. It's breaking off into little tiny bits and fragments of microplastics and nanoplastics in your food. Silicone rubber, the plastic. If you just think about the fact that it's being heated up, if you've ever looked at one, the integrity, you'll see it starting to fray. If you see any bits coming off, then you know it's definitely breaking up and getting into your food.
Yeah, there's loads of little pieces missing from the end of the plastic. And I guess that's gone into the food most likely.
Right.
Slowly dissolving over time.
Right. Because with nonstick cookware, you can't use metal utensils, right? You'll scratch the surface. But guess what? Even with that, you can scratch the surface.
So the wooden one here in my left hand, that's better.
Yes. At least from a safety and microplastic and nonstick chemical perspective, yes.
Right.
Wood is totally fine. What people normally will say is, I can't properly clean the wood. But I haven't had that issue. You just clean it with soap and water and it's fine.
Yeah, I ain't had no issue.
These are the everyday foods that are illegal in parts of the world. First on our list is the ackee. Despite its popularity, the unripe ackee harbors dangerous toxins, leading to its ban in the United States unless sourced from certified establishments. Next up is the humble ketchup, a staple condiment around the world. In France, schools and colleges once limited its use to promote healthier eating habits. Chewing gum finds itself on the ban list in Singapore, where its import and sale have been illegal for years. The move was spurred by vandals disrupting train sensors, leading to costly maintenance work. The unique Casu Marzu Pecorino, a Sardinian cheese containing jumping maggots, has been outlawed throughout the European Union due to health concerns associated with consuming live maggots. Last but not least, we have the beloved Kinder Surprise. This iconic Italian candy with its delectable chocolate egg concealing a toy has been prohibited in the United States due to concerns of accidental choking.
Eating stuff with maggots in it, bro?
The worst foods that you think so many people are consuming that they think are healthy, which are actually really, really unhealthy for us physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah, I mean, I think the least healthy category of foods are what are called ultra-processed foods, sometimes UPFs. These are foods that are heavily processed. The reason they use the word ultra is because lots of healthy foods are processed. Cheese is processed, yogurt is processed, white flour has been processed. So there's a degree of processing that's just kind of fine. But when you get into ultra-processed foods, which often carry health claims. I mean, I'll give you an example: the Impossible Burger or the Beyond Burger, right? These
super processed, though, right?
Yeah, like 21 ingredients. Some of them never before in the human diet.
Really?
And they're sold as plant-based, and I would always watch out for that phrase because it sounds really good. It has an aura of health around it, but in fact, it's got these 21 ingredients and lots of novel things and emulsifiers
and bonding.
Methyl cellulose is the glue that holds it together. I mean, I like them. I have to say, they're tasty. They're a pretty good synthesis of meat-like experience, but it's an ultra-processed food.
Super high in sodium, too.
And they push your brain to a bliss point beyond which self-control is seemingly impossible. And by the way, it's these ultra-processed foods that are a major route of ingestion for these kinds of chemicals that we're talking about, these industrial chemicals, forever chemicals. Ultra-processed foods are, if you want more phthalates in your body, consume more ultra-processed foods. There was a study that recently was published that found that for every 10% increment in ultra-processed food consumption, pregnant women were ingesting about 14% higher levels of these phthalates, right? I mean, you had you did such an amazing episode with Shauna Swan a couple years ago, talking about the fact that our exposure to these chemicals are reducing the anogenital distance in boys, right? Which is a very easy. Well, I don't know about if easy is the right term, but it's a very simple proxy to use to identify how these compounds might be affecting us, right? But that's only what you can observe.
Processed food industry was created by the cigarette industry. People don't know this, but in 1990, the 3 largest processed food companies were cigarette companies: Philip Morris, R.J. Reynolds, and others. Still to this day, Philip Morris owns Kraft. Most of the companies were spun out in the 1990s, but cigarette companies literally took their scientists, as cigarette companies were declining, and put them over to food companies to make the food more addictive. And all those thousands of ingredients that we have in our food are made to addict our children. It's hijacking our biology and our understanding of like what we're eating. I truly believe that. You don't binge on natural food because our bodies are made over thousands of years to be, with this food. Yeah. But processed food is not natural. It's hijacking our biology.
This shit, man. What are they doing?
America has 30 chemicals in their foods that are outlawed in Europe. And I have a lot of friends that are saying, oh, I'm super lactose here. When I go to, let's say, Portugal for the summer or Europe for the summer, I can have the Italian pizza. I can have the cheese. It doesn't affect me.
I'm lactose intolerant. Okay. If I have pasteurized dairy in America, bro, I break out on my skin. I have gut issues. It's not pretty. When I go to Europe, like I was in Spain this past summer, and I literally was having pizza, gelato, all this dairy, bro. Never experienced any sort of breakout or inflammation in my gut. And a big reason for that is because most of the time their cattle are grass-fed, much more sustainable conditions. In addition to that, it's not going through this pasteurization process that is extracting all of the beneficial enzymes that are in natural dairy.
That is definitely true.
A lot of the issues that happen from our diet are less about what we're eating than what our food eats. So non-grass-fed meats have significantly more of an impact on atherosclerosis, arteriosclerosis than grass-fed meats because of this omega-6, omega-3 fatty acid ratio. Vegetables that, inorganic vegetables that are full of pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, preservatives are, when you're putting those kind of chemical-laden things into the body, that's where the perversion and function comes from.
Okay. So I'm gonna clean up my diet with that. I'm gonna supplement what 10X Health prescribes me. I'm gonna look into getting on the superhuman.
Yep. Magnetism, oxygen, light. That's a game changer.
And sounds like that's really all I need to do. Is there anything?
That's it. And then develop a consistent morning routine.
I've been doing that for years.
Okay, so great. I mean, most entrepreneurs have some kind of morning routine. And I don't say that one is an absolute better than the other. If you wake up and you journal and in gratitude and, you do a little breath work and then some light cardio, but a consistent morning routine, I don't know anything from a physiologic standpoint that will have a greater impact on your longevity.
They're trying to silence this guy and make him seem crazy because he's exposing the truth about a $5 billion industry. Listen closely to what he says.
Your McDonald's chicken nuggets contain 30 ingredients. There are 4 different types of seed oil: corn oil, canola oil, soybean oil, and hydrogenated soybean oil. There is chicken in here, but there's also bleached white flour, which can be bleached with harmful chemicals like chlorine dioxide or benzoyl dioxide. The multiple preservatives, including aluminum phosphate. Excess amounts of aluminum in the human diet have been associated with increased rates of dementia and Alzheimer's disease.
This is unbelievable. I thought chicken nuggets were supposed to be just chicken. Who would have guessed it's made of 30 ingredients? I looked more into bleached white flour, and it literally destroys your gut, causing inflammation and weight gain, resulting in obesity and diabetes. It's even banned in Europe and other countries. What is the FDA doing? These chemicals are causing serious internal damage to your gut and will definitely lead to major health problems down the road. Fast food chains care more about making money than offering quality food, using the cheapest ingredients they can find. Your health isn't their priority, it's your wallet. And I'll admit, I've been eating too much fast food lately and I'm not proud of it. So I started searching for a way to reset my gut and came across bovine colostrum. I had no idea how beneficial it was for gut health. It actually helps with so many things. After giving it a try, I noticed an immediate difference. I had to rush to the bathroom for a major cleanse, but afterwards my stomach felt incredible, completely refreshed, like all the built up waste had finally been cleared out. And it gets even better. I used to feel bloated after nearly every meal, but now my gut feels incredible. I'm using bovine colostrum from Miracle Moo, and if you've been eating too much fast food like I was, you've got to try it. It clears out all that fast food buildup that's been stuck in your system for years. If you're interested, just head over to Amazon and search for bovine colostrum. Miracle Moo will be one of the top results. Make sure to pick that one, since there are a lot of knockoffs out there right now.
They are constantly playing right in our fucking faces because what is this? Natural flavor,
with other natural flavor. Natural flavor with other natural flavor.
Hold on, man. What? Natural flavor with other natural flavor?
What in the actual fuck does that mean? As you may know, natural flavor is terrible for us, and I don't buy nothing with natural flavor in it, but I passed by this shit in the supermarket, and I'm always reading labels because I'm a psycho, and I'm not buying this processed bullshit when I can literally just buy cream cheese and mix fucking berries in it myself. What do I need their stupid shit for? But if you don't know that natural flavors are bad and I'm on a rampage today, I will tell you that they are and why. Natural flavors can be highly processed and contain many chemical additives. In some cases, natural flavors aren't much different than artificial flavors in terms of their chemical composition and health effects. These mixtures can contain more than 100 different chemicals in addition to their original flavor source, including preservatives, solvents, and other substances. These are defined as incidental additives, and they're not required to tell you if the source it comes from is natural or synthetic. And because the term natural has no official definition, flavor sourced from genetically modified crops can also be labeled as natural.
Bruh, what?
Over 85% of the grass-fed beef in the American market is imported product, not raised in America. Isn't that nuts?
The worst part is that imported beef is legally labeled product of the USA.
How's that?
If value is added in this country, it's a product of the USA.
What?
And we compete with it every day.
How do they add value?
If they grind it, slice it, cut it, package it, label it,
rebox it,
transport it. But the animal, make no mistake, the animal was born, raised, and slaughtered in Uruguay, Australia, New Zealand, or 20 other countries.
In the World Health Organization, it says that if you eat meat, it will cause cancer.
So all processed meat, which most meat is processed, because it has to be. You got to think, if you slice something up or kill something, there's no way possible for it to last the length of time that it lasts. I mean, if you run a dog over out there and come back 2 days later, it's going to smell, look, and have things coming out of it. It goes into rigor mortis, and then all of a sudden it starts to break down. So how is it that meat can be in this grocery store for weeks and days? Because most of the meat you're eating, it's in there in the process for months. They didn't just slice the animal open and then brought it over to the supermarket. And sometimes when you go in there, you'll see the meat, it'll look sort of gray and brown.
Yes.
That's the meat that the dye has ran out of it. You have to spray it with dye. You got to think, anything that dyes is going to change colors. It can't keep its color because the color is coming from the blood.
Right.
So you don't drink coffee?
I don't drink coffee at all.
Why don't you drink coffee?
Okay, so this is a whole thing, and your audience is going to hate me.
Go for it.
It's a problematic thing for humans, I think mostly from the perspective of sleep. No one wants to hear this, but the quarter life of caffeine is 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours, meaning that if you drink a cup of coffee at, let's say, 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning, an average cup of coffee has 150 milligrams to 200 milligrams of caffeine in it. So that 200 milligrams of caffeine, if you drink one single cup of coffee, a quarter of that is still in your body affecting the physiology of your brain to initiate sleep, to help you through the sleep stages 12 hours after you drink the coffee. So if you drink coffee at 8 or 9 and you go to sleep at 9 or 10, you still have about 50 milligrams of caffeine in your body at that point.
Decaffeinated.
I'll just give you one example. If you go to McDonald's, anywhere in the world, you will find French fries, or chips as you call them, and you will find that they're always made from the same potato, the russet Burbank potato. This is a potato from America that's unusually long and difficult to grow, but that's what they want, because when you're McDonald's, you like those red boxes with a little bouquet of very long chips. It looks really good, and so they insist that all their potatoes be russet Burbanks, and they further insist that they have no blemishes at all. There's a very common defect of russet Burbank potatoes called net necrosis. And you've seen potatoes with a little brown line sometimes, or spots that come through it. Well, McDonald's won't buy them if your potatoes have that. And the only way to eliminate that is to eliminate an aphid. And the only way to do that is with a pesticide called Monitor that is so toxic that the farmers who grow these potatoes in Idaho won't venture outside into their fields for 5 days after they spray.
Damn.
And then when they harvest their potatoes, they have to put them in these atmosphere-controlled sheds the size of a football stadium because they're not edible for 6 weeks. Whoa. They have to off-gas all the chemicals in them. So you see, the desire for a certain kind of chip leads to a certain kind of agriculture.
That stuff sounds super crazy.
3 superfoods I'm making sure my little girl gets every single day, and you should too if you have kids. Number 1 would be moringa. Moringa is one of the most powerful superfoods on the planet. It's a superhero multivitamin. It's packed with minerals, nutrients, aminos, all the important building blocks of life, loaded with antioxidants. Moringa also helps you detox. It gets rid of the bad stuff in the body so that these little beings can grow up healthy. And it keeps your tummy happy and working well. Number 2 would be beets. Beets are like a secret weapon. They have lots of vitamins, minerals, and also are loaded with nitrates. So talk about nitric oxide. It improves blood flow, helps your muscles, gives you more energy, increases more of a VO2 max or oxygen in the body, which is great for kiddos, their growing body and their body's needs. Number 3 would be lemons. They're packed with vitamin C, antioxidants, and they help with phase 2 liver detoxification, which I like because we are being bombarded by toxins and chemicals today, my friend. So make sure your little ones are healthy. Moringa, beets, and lemons, which is why I actually added these to Organifi Easy Greens. It's a delicious blend of superfoods that's handcrafted, glyphosate residue free, organic for their little bodies and all of their needs.
Moringa is very good.
Remember when Subway convinced the world that their sandwiches were good for you? Well, that was an absolute lie. Because while people were munching away at their Subway sandwiches thinking they were getting healthier, their bread was actually made from the same chemical used to make yoga mats. It's called azodicarbonamide, which is a chemical used to make yoga mats, shoe soles, and other rubbery things. And it's linked to allergies, asthma, dermatitis, and respiratory issues, and is a carcinogen, causes cell mutation, hormone dysfunction, and neurological disorders. But finally, after receiving a ton of backlash, Subway stopped using it in their bread. But the problem is there's still a ton of popular brands that use it, some of which you're probably eating. So, best way to avoid it? Stick to sourdough, since many of the mass-produced breads are trash, because...
Yeah, sourdough is supposed to be the healthiest bread.
Don't eat fried stuff. And here's why. The amount of inflammation in the body from one meal with fried things in it, I don't care if it's fried fish or fried potato chips, it doesn't matter. That increases inflammation for 2 days. A cigarette is 4 to 8 hours. Literally, you're better off to smoke a cigarette than you are to eat a plate of French fries. Okay. And it's that big of a deal.
French fries you can't have?
Well, they're fried. Here, bake the damn French fries. It's not that hard. You bake them and put really good butter on them afterwards. It tastes the same.
I know, but when you go out, no one's baking them with butter on them.
I know. So it's because restaurants are, plus, they fry them in the worst oils that have been reused. You gotta just say no. And you look at that, you're like, that's not food.
So the reason for the low mood, low energy, low libido, low drive is your body's inflamed. It's exhausted. Because if you're always fighting against inflammation, your body's always has a war zone going inside of it. So the most pro-inflammatory foods, and we do have to put foods at the top of the list because this is the easiest way to decrease inflammation or increase inflammation in your body, like 100%. Really? So the most oxidative-based foods, the highest inflammatory foods are going to be vegetable-based oils. So safflower oil, sunflower oil, soybean oils, canola oils. These are highly inflammatory, I don't even want to call them foods, process-based foods that are ubiquitous in the standard American diet. Even if you look and you're functioning fine and you don't have a whole lot of those symptoms, the inflammation can actually be in the arteries, and a lot of that is from and I don't want to say seed oils as much because that does matter. When you take a nut or you take seeds and you turn them into an oil, there's a really volatile process that takes place, and that's what creates an oxidative stress in the body. Oxidation in the body means that your body's literally rusting from the inside out, creating free radicals, which is then robbing your body of a lot of the nutrients that you need. So for us, it's removing those first. The nuts and seeds, which we'll talk about in a moment, are actually not pro-inflammatory. They're anti-inflammatory. You turn them into an oil, now they become pro-inflammatory.
This stuff.
America's food is banned in 30 countries.
The food is killing people.
Oh yeah, it's definitely killing people. If somebody were to buy a bag of Lay's potato chips versus buying it in Europe and look at the ingredients, they're totally different. They will make the healthier version for another country. There's over 10,000 food chemicals that are allowed in the American population or food system that aren't allowed in other countries. It makes it easier for food companies, gives them longer shelf life because they're putting so many chemicals in it. So anytime we lobby for healthier food choices in our school systems, in our neighborhoods, the food industry is going right behind them with billions and millions of dollars saying, no, we can't do that.
Crazy, bro.
The most dangerous food for your liver is not alcohol. It's not sugar, nor is it glucose or fructose. This thing gets stuck into your fat cells for up to 18 months. And it gets stuck into your liver, causing non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and high amounts of visceral and belly fat. This thing is found in salad dressings and pretty much anything that we buy from the grocery store these days. What? Every restaurant cooks and deep fries with this. It's found in baby formula, all of your chips, crackers, and cookies, snacks, and everything that you're eating throughout the day. All of these snacks that are labeled 0 sugar, they're loaded with this and omega-6 fatty acids. It's extremely inflammatory, and the most dangerous foods for your liver are seed oils. These industrial seed oils contain hexane, which is used to make gasoline. The best fats to cook with are butter, ghee, tallow, and lard. The best thing to get rid of fatty liver and heal it is time-based eating. If you want to learn more about how to heal your metabolic health, hit that follow button because I'll be talking more about it.
Bro, this shit is in everything.
Why fried foods are bad for you. Oils are very temperamental. To have them stable in its natural environment is fairly rare. The second you start heating it up and denaturing it, it turns it into poison, which will harden your arteries, gum up your tissues, cause digestive problems. It can also clog your liver and your bile ducts. And it takes a while. You ever try and wash oil off of your hands? So it's gonna take a while to get out of the body. Eating fried foods on a regular and constant basis is not highly recommended. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of fried food here and there with some clean oils that you have put in the pan yourself. But if you're going to restaurants and you see something on the menu, you can always ask what their oils are and if they're using seed oils, but lots of times they can be dishonest and or they don't know and or people start getting pissy. So I like to cook most of my food at home. I do go to a nice Korean restaurant in Venice, California. I've been going there for years. They have a kimchi pizza. Hey, what kind of oil do you use in this? Lo and behold, canola oil. Okay. Do you have butter? And they say yes. And so they cook my kimchi pizza in butter. So you can request that, but just remember, eating out is a minefield and vote with your dollars. Go to the restaurants that have real food and chefs that prepare it properly.
Vote with your dollars. I love that.
This is why society is programmed to always eat fast food. Everywhere you go, you see a fast food restaurant, and there's a deep meaning behind this. Because if you notice, it's not a lot of options that's good for you. It's actually the complete opposite, and here's why. If you produce processed food that's cheap to make, then sell it for more than double the price. The government makes almost 100% profit off the people that decide to eat fast food. This is why healthy food is more expensive because they can't process it. They even inject most meat with hormones to make it bigger. The reason why is because if you eat a burger, it fills you up faster. But a couple things happen after you get done eating fast food. First, your stomach starts to hurt. This is because your body can't really use anything you just ate for its own benefit. Then you get tired because there was no type of energy in what you just ate. They even serve this food with things like soda or Dasani, which is literally the worst water to drink because of all the chemicals that's inside this water. But why would the government want us to consume so many bad things and advertise it? A theory is that this is a method to lower the vibration of society. As humans, we are all powerful and made up of energy. But if we constantly consume things that are processed and bad for our bodies, it'll naturally lower our energy, which is why you get tired afterwards. And I'm sure we all heard the saying, you are what you eat. So if you eat a lot of processed junk, naturally you're gonna feel like it. Make sure you're staying mindful of what you're eating because
your life depends on it.
This right here is why we're all getting sick. Everybody in the world is familiar with white rice. What most people don't know is that wild rice actually looks like this. Around every grain of rice is something called the bran. That's the fiber. We only eat the endosperm. And this is what wheat looks like. Food makers take all the good stuff, all the fiber out of the wheat so that they can make products like this. In nature, sugars and carbohydrates always come packaged in fiber. If you remove the fiber, you're left with pure sugar. Even sugar itself comes packaged in fiber. But removing this and removing this has serious consequences. Health benefits of fiber. If you have diabetes or prediabetes, fiber is your friend because it helps with blood sugar control and weight management. It can also lower your risk of heart disease and some cancers. If you take away the health benefits of fiber and remove it from food, you get sick. Very sick.
Shit's crazy.
Have you seen this sticker on your produce lately? This sticker indicates that your fruit or veggie has been coated with a chemical called mono and diglycerides. It acts as a second peel to keep oxygen from getting into your fruit or vegetable in order to make it last longer. Watch here. The coating company is called Appeal, and its founders include the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and they also have high-profile celebrity investors such as Oprah Winfrey and Katy Perry, who believe that by making fruits and veggies last longer, as you can see here, you're helping fight climate change by reducing emissions and fighting food waste. There's no doubt that this invention will help the bottom line of businesses, but what effect, if any, will this engineered chemical have on the health of consumers? As you can see here on the company's FAQ page, what is Appeal made of? It's made of mono and diglycerides. But what is that? Mono and diglycerides are natural sources of fatty acids that come from oils such as canola oil, soybean oil, or palm oil, and many others. But the important thing that most people don't realize is that they contain small amounts of trans fats. According to the FDA, eating trans fats raises the level of LDL, bad cholesterol in the blood, and elevated LDL cholesterol in the blood increases your risk of developing heart disease, the leading cause of death in the US for men and women. But here's the thing, even though mono and diglycerides contain trans fats, they're classified as emulsifiers and not lipids, and therefore the FDA ban does not apply to them. And if you want to wash the coating off like the traditional wax that's been on our produce, here's the company's FAQ page that says that you cannot completely remove it. Not only that, if you scroll down further on the FAQ page, it says that this coating is allowed on regular conventional produce as well as USDA organic certified produce. This produce is currently being sold across the United States as well as in grocery stores in Canada and parts of Europe. There is no doubt that this is a very interesting new invention, but my question is, will the good outweigh the bad? Let me know what you think down below.
I don't think so. I do not think so.
Sugar in your tea is even worse than you having a biscuit, for example. So because the sugar dissolves in your hot tea and the tea is hot, when you drink it, it can actually cause more problems. Another thing with sugar is, I have a sweet tooth. I love sugar, but it's about how you eat your sugar. So let's say if you have your hot tea with 5 lumps of sugar in there and you're sipping it over an hour or two, that's where you start to see a lot of problems. So actually you need to be having a sugar attack. So just all the sugar in one go. And that way your mouth has all the sugar in one go and it's able to neutralize the saliva and get back to a good state as quickly as possible. Every time you sip your tea with sugar, what happens is that the saliva has to go from acidic back to neutral, acidic back to neutral, acidic, and then it starts to just not work properly and the saliva just stays acidic, and that's where you start to see decay.
Damn.
The point is that the food industry is very powerful, and they have, swept virtually every aspect of this under the rug for 40 to 50 years. They knew back in the 1960s that sugar was a problem, but they paid off scientists to say it wasn't.
Wow.
And we actually have the documents from the food industry. They live at the UCSF Food Industry Documents Library, and we are doing research on corporate interference in health.
Paid them off.
I was eating sardines. I love sardines. So I'd eat like 3 cans of sardines every day. And I go to my doctor, I get my blood work done. He goes, do you have arsenic in your body?
Arsenic?
Yeah, trace levels of arsenic. And I said, how much? Like someone's trying to poison me? He goes, I don't think so. He goes, are you eating a lot of seafood? I go, eat 3 cans of sardines a day. He goes, don't do that. And he explains to me that these are bottom feeders and that they live a lot of times in areas that are polluted by humans. So we've polluted the ocean to the point where if you eat too much fish, you get sick.
Damn. What? Polluted the water so much that if you eat enough fish, you get sick.
How do I start healing myself naturally?
You begin by abstaining from the foods or group food that you've been ingesting, allowing the body to release all of what it has accumulated over the years such as someone that eat pork all their life. I saw him just recently, Gustavo, and he's fat, so he's fasting and taking the compounds. The cells regenerate, the cells heal themselves by allowing oxygen. See, what you do is to fast to allow oxygen to enter those various organs to reach them via your arteries with the blood. The nasal passage has to be clear because oxygen is the real food. It's the fuel of the body. Deprived of that for 2 minutes, you will not live to tell the story.
Dr. Savio's a legend, man. Rest in peace.
The most dangerous food for the heart is not butter, it's not red meat, and it's definitely not saturated fat. This food is made synthetically and destroys the membranes in your brain. They can cause 3 times the amount of inflammation than butter. The most dangerous food for the heart is margarine or trans fats. Trans fats are hidden in our foods because they're under 500 milligrams per serving size, but trans fats directly cause arterial damage. If you want a healthy heart, you don't have to be afraid of butter, saturated fat, and you definitely don't have to be afraid of red meat.
This shit is...
Because you need fiber, right?
Why?
Thought it was good for like digestion and your gut microbiome and stuff like that.
What does it do?
A lot of people tell me that it prevents glucose going into the blood or something.
Where's the glucose coming from?
So you don't need it.
We have a lot of half-truths in our minds about food. So yes, fiber, you're exactly right, lowers glucose spikes. But the glucose is coming from a diet that's too high in sugar. And so you won't get glucose spikes if you regulate your glucose levels. If you're eating a high carbohydrate diet, fiber can soften your glucose spikes, and that's a plus. But there's a more effective way to lower your glucose spikes is to not get a glucose spike in the first place. That may not require taking all the carbohydrate out of your diet. It might just mean lowering it to your personal tolerance.
That's real. That's real.
This is bananas. Scientists in the UK have edited the genes of bananas so that they don't brown 24 hours after peeling. Now, I don't know why anybody would need this, but regardless, these bananas are about to hit the shelves in the United States, Canada, Philippines, Honduras, and Colombia later this month. Scientists have figured out how to target the genes in the banana that causes the browning. It's an enzyme called polyphenol oxidase, and they disabled it. But here's the important part. Because this technique is not genetic modification, these bananas do not have to be labeled as GMO. This is because it only makes changes to the banana's existing genes and does not introduce any foreign genetic material. It's giving me appeal vibes from 2023, where scientists say this is so great because the produce is gonna stay fresh and last longer without providing any long-term studies of what this gene editing may have on our health in the future. Ironically, even though you can buy these bananas around the world later this month, Brits will not be able to, even though they were invented in the UK, because gene-edited plants and fruit is banned there. If you're like me and you want to buy organic, the company is called Tropic, so you might be able to look for that sticker on the bananas if you want to steer clear. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
This...
You know, kids are eating 67% of children's calories now are ultra processed foods. These means foods that come from a factory made by food scientists, not just processed, ultra processed, the highest form of processing, 67% of calories. Then you go to the 1970s and we have the advent of high fructose corn syrup, which, as Callie talks about, this preceded some of the mergers, but high fructose corn syrup is a weapon of mass destruction that basically food scientists used an understanding about hibernating animals like bears who fructose is one of the only types of calories where instead of making you feel satiated, it makes you more hungry. And this is evolutionarily, and we knew this. In the fall, when animals are preparing for hibernation and they start eating fructose-rich berries, they need to put on a ton of fat for winter. And so there's a feed-forward mechanism with fructose where it actually gets the bears to be hungry and even violent to outcompete other animals to get as many berries as possible in a short period of time to lay 3D print fat for winter. So you have the scientists understanding this and say, hey, we can make liquid fructose 1,000 times more potent than the fructose you'd find in berries. Same molecule, but in higher concentration. And we can add it to everything. We can add it to salad dressing. We're gonna add it to ketchup. We're gonna add it to children's school lunches. We're gonna add it, obviously, to sodas, and we're gonna make people insatiable. We're gonna make their bodies and their brains think that they're preparing for winter that's never coming.
Did you know that the third highest containing nicotine vegetable on earth is tomatoes? Every red tomato that you've ever eaten has nicotine in it. Did you know that green tomatoes have 10 times the amount of nicotine as red tomatoes? Did you know that bell peppers, cauliflower, celery, zucchini, all nightshade vegetables have tons of nicotine? In fact, that whole group of foods, nightshade vegetables, has the second highest amount of nicotine, only second to tobacco. Wow. Now, this one should shock you. Have you ever eaten a potato chip or mashed potatoes or a baked potato or French fries, Laura Lynn?
I have.
Did you know that white potatoes have nicotine in them? And every time you've eaten potatoes, you're sucking down nicotine. Now, my question for you is why do they continue to make us so scared of nicotine and tobacco if it's in our veggies?
Man, I need to do my own research on that.
These foods should have a warning label. Cigarettes have crazy warning labels. Look, there's a guy there with a respirator and this guy has a tracheostomy. It's gnarly. We know that cigarettes are harmful for your lungs. They cause cancer and all sorts of issues in humans. Well, we also know very clearly that these kind of ultra-processed junk foods contribute to obesity, diabetes, cancer, dementia. So how come this doesn't have a warning label? There should absolutely be a warning label on the side of a Lay's package that says, this food contributes to obesity, diabetes, low libido, erectile dysfunction, dementia later in life, and a picture of someone getting dialysis or a picture of someone having their foot amputated because they have diabetes and a bad infection. That should be on the side of a Lay's potato chip bag, just like it's on the side of a cigarette package. Right? Am I right? Am I wrong? Well, it's not on the side of a Lay's package, and that is absolute bullshit. This needs warning labels too. Who's with me?
I completely agree, sir.
If you ate eggs every single day for 14 days, this is what would happen. You would have more brain power because there's a very unique thing in eggs called choline that helps prevent a fatty liver. The other thing that eggs have is cholesterol. Cholesterol is the raw material to make all your sex hormones, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and your stress hormones like cortisol. Eggs actually increase the good cholesterol. Eggs have two very unique antioxidants, lutein and zeaxanthin. They block blue light from going into the eyes, so they're very protective against things like macular degeneration. And lastly, eggs are high in sulfur. Sulfur will help build up your hair so it's nice and shiny and strong.
One of the primary fish that people like to eat is salmon. They make a genetically modified version of it. Did you know that? They take this genetically modified version and somehow incidentally combine it in the same waters with the natural salmon. Whoa. You know what the genetically modified version started doing? You can look this up. It started eating the natural salmon. Oh, it's a wrap. Like, you can look this up. Like this, I'm not making this up. It's not a video. It's like it really happened. So a lot of the fish you'll see today, you'll notice like when fishermen are catching fish now, they're going inside of their mouth, pulling things out. Those are parasites. They're pulling parasites out of the fish mouth. That, and then the third thing I'll tell you is that because the waters are so polluted in the ocean today, but if you do the specific research and say genetically modified salmon, you're gonna see the brand. You know, if you do the research and say mercury in fish, you're gonna see that mercury is very prominent in fish today.
The genetically modified salmon was eating the other one?
This is why I don't eat bacon. I know, I break your heart when I tell you this, but look, see all this fat right here? Pigs are fat animals, but like humans, when pigs are fed corn and soy or seed oils, they accumulate the omega-6 fatty acids in their fat. Yes, you accumulate omega-6 fatty acids in your body. You can't get rid of them. Pigs can't get rid of them either. What are most pigs fed? In fact, what are 99.99% of all pigs fed? Corn, soy, and seed oils in their crappy feed, which means excess linoleic acid, excess omega-6 accumulates right there in the fat. Theoretically, pigs would be fine if they were wild, but almost all bacon I've ever seen is garbage, and I don't eat it because of that excess seed oils that get stuck in the fat. Don't eat this if you really want to thrive.
All right, guys, that was another TikTok compilation about the truth behind the foods that we eat. Hey, if you made it this far, you care about your health. 1. 2, you a real one for real. Make sure you drop that in the comments. Man, y'all let me know. What are your thoughts on all of this food stuff and the chemicals? And it's almost like as far as in America, you can't even get away from it. Like, it's in the meats, it's in the dairy, it's in the fruits, it's in the vegetables. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. But hey, you a real one for real if you made it this far. But look, self-love and positivity I'm sending your way. Till next time, man. Fire Squad, I got you and you know it.